Hello, dear souls, and welcome to this episode. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you about how limiting beliefs are like self-fulfilling prophecies, and limiting beliefs are like little people in your subconscious that don't want to leave. Anytime we approach them, anytime, or no matter how much you're like, oh, I want to let go of these limiting beliefs, the limiting beliefs will go, nah, nah, nah. You're not going to let go of me. I'm here to stay. I serve a purpose. I'm here for a reason. Because all the limiting beliefs that we have adopted from the collective, from our personal experiences, have been internalized for a reason. So the belief in itself is like a little person that says, I am valid. I need to exist in order to protect you, in order to serve you on some level, even if it's completely irrational. So we might have, most limiting beliefs have no logic. We can have limiting beliefs that it's hard to make money, or, you can have a limiting belief that I deserve to get hurt, I deserve to be punished. There's lots of limiting beliefs that, from God's perspective, doesn't make that much sense, because of course you deserve all the abundance in the world, and of course you deserve to be loved 100%. But when we zoom down into our human experience and from the ego perspective, when we experience hardship and challenges and trauma during childhood, we will internalize these beliefs in order to protect ourselves, even if that means that we project this belief back out, and then we keep experiencing the lack and the limitation and the fear, because the belief thinks that it's real. So I'm going to go a little deeper into this, and the reason I want to share this with you is just so that you can start to loosen up, and your subconscious, as you're listening to this, can start to loosen up the grip. Because the little subconscious beliefs in the subconscious, they're holding on so tightly for dear life because they want to protect you. They really think that they're valid. It's just like any fear that we have, even though all fear is an illusion. Any fear that you have does not want to be let go of, because it believes you need to have me in order to survive. And the limiting beliefs are the same. The limiting beliefs are like little people that say, I'm here for a reason and you need me to survive. So that's very sweet of the limiting belief, but sometimes they don't serve us. Or we're come to completion. Maybe you're really tired of struggling financially, or you're really tired of your relationships always ending up in heartbreak and pain, and you're just coming to a full completion with that, and you feel done, but it keeps on happening. So if that's the case, then keep on listening, because I want to share with you this so your subconscious can just start to loosen up a little bit. This is not a subconscious reprogramming session, because I would need to have you go into a trance state and the meditation and do a method and all of that. But it will help you to just start to loosen up a little bit, so that you can begin to open up to the possibility of letting go of those limiting beliefs. So I want to go into an area of subconscious beliefs. There's so many different areas. We have the area of money, we have the area of wealth, we have the area of health, we have the area of relationships, and the area of our relationship to ourself. So one thing that has been coming up a lot lately in my sessions with clients is a fear around abandonment. So abandonment by life, by our partners, and also abandonment by ourselves, that we won't be able to carry ourselves through life. So abandonment, where does that stem from? Typically childhood, 99% of the time from childhood. And we all experience abandonment on some level. It doesn't have to be that your parents left you on the street for a week or for several months and left you to starve, and you thought they were going to die, and then they came back and then they did it again. It doesn't have to be that drastic, although some people do experience very extreme forms of abandonment as well. But it can be subtle. If you can have emotional abandonment. If you come home every day and your parents don't give you any attention, maybe they're just watching TV, maybe you really want to have a conversation with your dad or your mom, but they're always busy, and they're just there physically, but they're not there emotionally. That is a form of what we will internalize and experience as children as abandonment. Of course, they're not trying to abandon you, and hopefully most parents are doing their best to be good parents. It's not an easy job, but we can't help as little children to just feel and experience then that, the belief that we get is, I'm not important. I don't matter. I'm not significant. There's no reason to give me attention. So then we internalize this belief that, well, I guess I don't matter. I guess I deserve to be abandoned. And then we internalize that belief that gets compartmentalized, stored in the subconscious. And because 95% of our reality is created by our subconscious beliefs, we then project that out into reality. And this is where it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because then what happens is that your mind will then start to look for proof of abandonment, to prove to the belief that, yes, look, this is true, this is real. So you may even have friends that show lots of love, or you may have even supportive partners, but in those partnerships, you will only look for signs of abandonment. Them being late, or them not showing up, or them not texting you on the right time. The subconscious belief, not you, not the true version of you, your soul, but the subconscious belief will go, look, you see, you deserve to be abandoned. So that comes from a protection area. So, this can sound a bit sort of like very negative, like, oh, that sucks if I have that belief and then I'm just going to project that out for the rest of my life. No, it comes with golden nuggets. Any limiting belief that you have serve you on some level. So what I do with my clients, I always figure out, okay, let's see how this has served you. So it's not just like, oh, because I protected myself and it's better to be alone and now I'm safe. That's not a golden nugget. There's qualities and virtues and aspects of yourself that are really valid and honorable in nature that you just haven't fully seen yet. You haven't fully recognized. And that's when we have the aha moments and we shift it around. And from that place, we can do the subconscious reprogramming. And your ego mind and the personality structure will go, well, how can, limiting beliefs like that serve me on any level? But it's possible to find that out. So just to continue on with the self-fulfilling prophecy, if you've experienced abandonment and neglect during childhood and you internalize these beliefs that I'm not important, I don't matter, then it will continue to project that out into reality. And the same goes for money. If you grew up in a lack-based environment and you saw around you that it's really hard to make money, it's not possible to make money, you have to work hard to make money, that's what you're going to take on as truth. And it makes sense because you're programmed to the extent that it makes sense to your reality. So if you see around you it's hard to make money, it wouldn't make sense if you were just like, well, la-di-da, it's super easy, because in that environment it wasn't. So you had to take on that belief so that you can gain the qualities and the skills and the virtues necessary then to make money in that environment. But what happens is that you are a different person than your environment. You are not your environment. You can create a totally different reality. And you have infinite possibilities. You have infinite potential of what you can do in this life. But because of the limited mind, it goes, this is my environment. This is how people around me behave. I need to do the same in order to survive. But it doesn't have to be like that. And that's what's changing in this day and age, because yes, before, when we didn't have access to the internet, and before when we didn't have access to multidimensional assistance, and when we didn't have access to AI, we didn't have access to being able to call someone from the other side of the world. We couldn't fly all over the world. We didn't have this infinite potentiality before, at least not in our conscious awareness. So, if we way back in the day, you were born somewhere and then you were stuck there, and the only thing that you could do was to walk to another destination. And if you did that, you'd probably be scared and feel like you were going to die unless there was some sort of safety. Then it makes sense that you were like, okay, I need to operate like everyone else is operating in my immediate environment. But we don't have to be like that anymore. So that's why we're evolving out of that. We're evolving out of that way of being conditioned so that we can have this access to infinite potentiality and we can create what we want. But the thing is, then we have to go through this process of deconditioning all the programming that we've been programmed with that doesn't serve us, that holds us back from realizing the full potentiality. So if you grew up with lack and limitation and fear and panic, and that it's hard to make money, and that relationships always end up in pain, and relationships are toxic, and all of these things, you have to go through a process of deconditioning that. So getting that out of your subconscious and installing new programs that will project themselves out so that you can create that new reality. Because it's kind of like, the brain is kind of like a computer. If you download a bunch of programs onto it, those are the programs that you have access to and that you play around with. If you don't like those programs anymore, you have to delete them and install some new ones to create a new experience of what it's like to play on the computer. So I just want to bring this to your awareness, just to also give you a bit of hope. So if you feel like you're stuck, if you feel like I can't really create the life that I really want, it's totally possible. But there needs to be a process of deconditioning and reconditioning, of deinstalling the programs that you're not so happy with anymore. They've served their purpose. Thank you very much. Served me up to today, but now it's time for some new ones. And what I want to leave you with is that you don't have to go through this alone. And you are actually not going through this alone. This is the whole global massive awakening happening right now. So bring a bit of excitement into this. Like, oh, wow, this life is a game and I can play around and I can change my subconscious and I can change my reality. So this is the loosening up part, have reality become a little bit more malleable, have reality become a little bit more flexible, not so rigid and fixed in place. And that's when we tap into the quantum energy, where we have infinite potentiality. And what we need to do there is reassure the mind, because the mind likes the tried and tested. The mind likes the familiar. So the mind will even hold on to the negative experiences and want to keep experiencing the negative experiences because they're familiar. So if there's a familiarity with heartbreak, if there's a familiarity with lack, if there's a familiarity with hardship, the neurons in your brain will want to continue to go in that direction, and the habit of that wants to stay because it's familiar, and the brain likes familiarity. The brain doesn't like the unknown. It's scary, but it's in the unknown that you have all the infinite potentiality. So then we need to reassure the mind and bring some safety and stability into co-creating with the universe, with your soul. Go into the unknown to create the new known. So you can create a new known. That's a funny sentence. But it's possible, So even if you want a sense of stability and you want a sense of familiarity, create what is the new familiarity that you want to become familiar with. Maybe you want to become familiar and create a new normal that you can be safe, you can be abundant, you can be loved fully. Let's have that become your new familiarity. That's the new normal for you. And that's where we're going to the subconscious reprogramming, because once we change those beliefs and we install these new ones, then it will feel more normal and natural for you to like, oh yeah, I can be safe. Oh yeah, it can be easy to make more money. And oh yeah, I can be loved fully. And then that won't feel so unfamiliar and strange to the subconscious. So I wish for your brain complex to just start to take this on, and for you to go into the day and have just a bit of awe and wonder, and to feel a little bit safe going into the unknown and breaking the old patterns, and just do one thing a little bit new today. We all get into routines, and routines are healthy, but just break your routine a little bit. Make a big smile to someone on the street. Brush your teeth with your left hand or your right hand if you're left-handed. Send a message to someone you haven't sent a message to in a long time and just say, hi, I just hope you're doing well. Just break your patterns a little bit with positive intent, and that will reflect itself back to you. Something new and unexpected will be reflected back to you. And the reason I'm encouraging you to do this is to have you feel safe in doing something unknown and be positively surprised by it. Because we avoid going into the unknown because we believe that we will be negatively impacted by it, that there will be a negative consequence to some fear. So we want to program ourselves into knowing that, when I go into the unknown, that gives me a positive experience rather than a negative. So try something new today. Go out into the world with a new, a little wonder. Bring your inner child and be, okay, what can we experience here today? Let's have some fun and see what happens. So I hope you've enjoyed this little episode. I just wanted to open up the mind a little bit for you there and create a little spark of wonder so that you can experience life in the universe surprising you positively. This is what we want to step into. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.